What's going on, everybody? It's Kyle Vinnick. The Galaxy phones by Samsung is like the go-to Android phones for average consumers. I never recommended any previous Galaxy S phones, but with my experience with the Galaxy S8, it seems like my opinion for the future of the Galaxy S phones has changed. So in my hand, this is the Galaxy S8 in Midnight Black. I decided to go with the regular Galaxy S8 because the screen already measures 5.8 inches diagonally and the phone is already pretty tall. There are a lot of different versions of this phone that you can get, but there are two different types of specs. I have the international version of this phone, which is basically the same version as the US unlocked version in terms of specs. The international version was the last version that was released, and I thought it was going to pack that Exynos processor chip in there, but I was wrong. Instead, this phone has the Snapdragon 835 paired with the Adreno 540 GPU. But I would recommend everyone to just get the global version, because the performance and battery life is going to be a lot better. The global version has the Exynos 8895 processor with the Mali G71 MP20 GPU. Other than that, every Galaxy S8 phone has a 4GB of RAM with 64GB of internal storage. So, looking at the front of the phone, you can easily tell that the design is dramatically changed. The display reaches all the way to the top until it's right underneath the sensors and the earpiece. I really like the shape of this display over its competitors because it's more evened out, unlike the iPhone X and the Essential phone. But even with this amount of display on the front, not every app and video is going to support the taller aspect ratio. There is a feature to bring videos closer to the edges, but that means zooming into the video. But anyways, the display is protected by Gorilla Glass 5. We got the always on display, which shows the current date and time, notifications, and they're customizable. The only thing I leave on the always on display is the home button. The reason why I leave that home icon on is because Samsung does something different with this home button compared to the other Android phones that feature soft keys. And that is the new pressure sensitive home button. I don't really know the official name of it, but it's basically like 3D touch on the iPhone. So when you press and hold where that home button is, it'll vibrate like a click. And what's cool about it is that you can activate this home button even when the display is completely off. But the phone gotta be on, obviously. But one thing I can't wrap my head around is the color of the navigation bar. Like, it's cool that you have some different colors you could choose from, but where is the traditional black color? It was said that the reasoning was to prevent any screen burns, but I don't really care about that. Burn my screen all you want. These colorful bars be looking ugly. There is an app called Navbar Apps that'll allow you to change the color of your navigation bar, but it doesn't last that long. I noticed when I enter multi-window mode, the nav bar becomes white again, even on the home screen. It's kind of annoying because they come up with this unique home button and then ruin it with the non-black navigation bar. But another feature within the navigation bar is that you have the option to hide the navigation bar. And what's cool about it is that you don't always have to go to the settings. You can just tap that dot that's on the left side of the navigation bar. Moving up to the top of the phone, we're greeted with a new setup of sensors. Even the new earpiece is small, the quality still sounds pretty good. So we got an infrared camera for iris scanning, we got the infrared light, we got an LED notification light, we got an ambient light, we got a proximity sensor, and of course we got that 8 megapixel front facing camera. The new iris scanner works surprisingly good. It recognizes your eyes instantly, and unlocking your phone through the iris scanner is not as awkward as I thought it would be. But I'd rather leave it off because a lot of times it would unlock my phone when I don't want it to be unlocked. And I'm fine with unlocking my phone through the fingerprint sensor that's newly located on the back of the phone. And we all know just by looking at the location, it can be really hard to reach. It's definitely something to get used to, but once you get familiar with the reach, it starts to become a little more natural, even though it still looks weird reaching for it. I'm using the smaller Galaxy S8, so the Plus model might be a little bit more hard to get comfortable with. But either way, I think the best solution is to put a case on the phone. The case that I'm using for this phone is a case by Urban Armor Gear. This is the thinnest case they have for this phone, and even though it adds some bulk, it still keeps a slim profile with a rugged design. On top of the great level of protection, the cutout on the back of the case makes it easy for you to slide your finger down the fingerprint sensor. I'll leave a link in the description below for you guys to check it out. So this phone is IP68 certified, it's dust and waterproof, and the phone could be submerged 1.5 meters in water for 30 minutes. So this phone would be safe once it makes those accidental toilet visits. And with this feature, you sacrifice the quality of the speakers. The speaker isn't bad, it's just that it could be better considering it's a flagship phone. It does get loud, but I would give the clarity an 8 out of 10. And then to the left of the speaker, you'll find the welcomed USB Type-C port. This phone features fast charging, and with the included charger, it charges faster than the Pixel XL that I was using a couple months ago. From 20% or less, it would take about an hour and 40 minutes to fully charge. Since we're on the battery of things, the Galaxy S8 has a 3000 milliampere battery. On most days, I would get about 3 hours and 30 minutes of screen on time, and that result would come from normal usage. From things like almost all day music listening, casual gaming, a little bit of videos, slipping in some pictures and some GPS activities. The good thing about this phone is that it has different power saving modes. The most important power saving mode is the medium power saving mode. I recommend this one because it doesn't take too much experience from the phone. And if you feel like you're going to be away from your charger for a long time, this is the best option. And before you enter power saving mode, it shows details on what's going to be enabled. Another cool feature is the device maintenance setting. And here you can look at the status of your phone, you can clean up your storage and close background apps. Occasionally, you'll have some apps in the background that's draining your battery. I know with any other Android phone, you could just force stop an app, but I think it's pretty cool that Samsung shows the battery draining apps and gives you a nice presentation as it gives you better performance. So this phone is running on that Android 7.0. This is not the latest version of Android, but overall, you're getting some good performance. I've used the Galaxy S6 and the S7, and with the experience on the Galaxy S8, this has to be the most cleanest and fastest software I've used on the Galaxy phone. There will be some occasional freezing on the phone, but once it clears up, the phone quickly gets back in its snappy ways. You will notice some delay when you activate multi-window view, but it's not a continuous lag like how it was on the S6. The phone pretty much handles everything I throw at it without any major lags. One thing that's not that good though is the RAM management. Even though this phone has 4 GB of RAM, you're gonna notice some apps refreshing on this phone sooner than how it would on other phones. I mean, it's not that slow at refreshing apps, but for a flagship phone, that's something to put notice in. What I like about multitasking on this phone is that it's more featured packed than the Pixel phone. You could adjust the size of each window. The activated app is highlighted in blue so you know which one you're working in. And the divider gives you tools like switching apps from the top to the bottom and giving you the ability to put an app in a pop-up view. And with this feature, you can have up to 5 apps open at the same time. So this is the first phone that features Bluetooth 5.0. The biggest feature is that you're able to cast audio from 2 different Bluetooth devices. One tiny thing I don't like about this phone is the Clipboard feature. It's basically a folder that keeps everything you copy, and that includes screenshots. It's not really a big deal, but when you're doing some dirt on your phone, it basically saves everything you copy and screenshot it. The thing you gotta do is to be cautious of what you're copying and frequently empty the Clipboard folder. Another thing to look out for is Samsung Cloud, particularly the cloud for the gallery. Even if you hit the cloud switch off, the photos that were already in there are going to stay there unless you manually delete them. So the first thing I would do before using this phone for the first time is get up in the Samsung Cloud settings and turn that off. I mean, you could use it if you want, but you got to be aware of its capabilities. Because I already use Google Photos, and that's enough for me to worry about. So moving back to the back of the phone, you got the familiar heart rate monitor, and in the center you got the back camera, which is 12 megapixel f1.7 aperture lens. We got OIS, and we're able to record in 4K. It's subtle, but the camera is more flush than the S7's camera. The camera focus is really quick. Most shots are crisp and clear. Some images can be overexposed, and colors can look blown out. When it comes to low light images, they're okay. I don't know, every time I use any other Android phone, I always think about how good the Pixel camera is. Every Galaxy camera I've used, even in good lighting, I notice some grainy effects within almost every picture, and that can make the picture look really unnatural. I haven't had that much experience with the 4K recording, but check this short clip out, and you be the judge. Alright, I forgot about one new feature that's baked into this Galaxy S8. And that's Bixby. It's Samsung's new smart voice assistant and it's meant to go against Apple's Siri and Google Assistant. You can view your calendar events, upcoming reminders, and weather, media feeds. But the thing is that Samsung apps contribute to Bixby, like Samsung Fit. It's kind of weird because when you're an Android user, you naturally use Google Assistant, and to go deep with Bixby, you gotta be like in love with Samsung or something. Bixby even has its own button, which is kind of weird. The good thing is that you have the ability to disable Bixby when you press that button that's below the volume keys. But you can still enable it if you hold it though. It's not really a big deal because you're less likely to accidentally press it than to accidentally hold it. So yeah, the Galaxy S8 is an all-around great smartphone. We're touching on almost every feature that's on a flagship phone today. Plus you're getting extra features like iris scanning, multi-window view, pop-up view, side panel views. You got the ability to fast wireless charge, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing out on some other features. One thing I forgot to mention though is that the edge display can get really annoying sometimes. This time around with the GS8, the edge is more smooth and less dramatic than the S7. But as I continue to use my phone, looking at pictures and watching videos, the curved edges can ruin the content. And on top of that, when you want to tap on a button that's on the edge of the display, you really got to be accurate when you press it. This is one of the better Galaxy S phones, and I would recommend this phone because of how much more stable it is. Let me know if I'm missing out on something that I should have mentioned in this video. Other than that, that's gonna do it for me. As always, comment down below. Let me know what you think about the video. And make sure you subscribe for the latest. Later.